The pickup truck market is crashing, and it is not slowing. Trucks that sold for $80,000, $100,000 2 years ago now go for a fraction of that, while the people who paid full price watch tens of thousands vanish. Here's what nobody tells you. Everyone is crashing for a specific reason, a specific killer, and once you name it, you can tell which cheap truck is a steal and which is a money pit. I am counting down 20 pickups selling for pennies and telling you what killed each one. So how far has this gone, and which truck lost the most money of all? Make sure you subscribe, because I started this channel for one reason: to share what dealerships and car makers don't want you to hear. With your support, I can keep making these videos. Now let's get into it. Here is the one idea that turns this whole list into money in your pocket, so hold on to it. A truck does not lose half its value by accident. Something kills it, and there are only a handful of killers that do the job. Oversupply, overpricing, a dead brand, a bad reputation, and the biggest killer of all, which we will get to at number 1, hype that outran reality. Every truck on this list died of one of those, and if you can spot which killer's on the windshield before you sign, you will never be the one holding the truck when the value falls out of it. So let's count them down, from the trucks that took a real hit to the single biggest wipeout in the whole market, and the number 1 crash is going to make your stomach drop. Number 20, the Ford Ranger. We start with a mild one. The redesigned Ranger got priced up close to where a full-size truck used to sit, and buyers hesitated, so it now sheds close to a third of its value in just the first 2 years. Cause of death? Overpricing. It is a perfectly good truck that simply asked for more money than the market was willing to pay, and the used lot is where that gap gets settled. A Ford dealer in the Kansas City area will deal on these all day, because the sticker was always a little ahead of reality. Number 19, the Chevrolet Colorado. The newest midsize Chevy launched straight into a mess of early recalls and quality complaints, and nothing scares a used buyer faster than a truck with a shaky first year. It gives up around a third of its value in 3 years. Cause of death? A bruised reputation right out of the gate. The deal is real, but so is the reason for it, and the smart move is a later build after the bugs got shaken out. Number 18, the GMC Canyon. It is the Colorado wearing a nicer suit and a bigger price tag, which means it fell even faster because buyers looked at the near-identical Chevy sitting next to it for less and walked. Cause of death, paying a premium for a badge the used market does not care about. That premium is the first thing to evaporate every single time. Number 17, the Toyota Tacoma. This one matters because the Tacoma never depreciates. It is legendary for holding value. But the brand new generation arrived with transmission and hybrid complaints that spooked the faithful, and for the first time in years, there is real give in the price. Cause of death, a crack and a bulletproof reputation. It is still one of the better value holders here, but even the untouchable one took a hit, and that tells you how strange this market has gotten. Number 16, the Ford F-150. The best-selling truck in America is not immune. The base trucks are shedding somewhere north of a third of their value, dragged down by plain old oversupply as lots filled back up. Cause of death? Too many trucks and not enough buyers. The good news for you is that this is the healthiest kind of crash. A proven truck cheap for no reason other than there are a lot of them. A used truck lot outside of Atlanta is full of them right now, and they are genuine bargains. Number 15, the Ram 1500. Ram is owned by Stellantis, a company in real financial trouble, and the desperation shows in both the incentives and the resale. Ram has been throwing enormous discounts to move new trucks, and every one of those discounts drags down the value of the used ones. Cause of death, a struggling parent company flooding the market to survive. When the maker panics, the owner pays for it on trade-in day. Number 14, the Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Here is a shock. Independent studies now peg the Silverado with the highest 5-year depreciation of any new truck, shedding close to 40% of its sticker. And it is carrying extra weight because that 6.2-liter V8 has been at the center of a massive engine recall for bearings that fail and seize. Cause of death, oversupply plus a genuine reliability cloud. When a bestseller leads the pack in losing value, the market is telling you something the marketing never will. Think about how strange that is. The most popular full-size truck in the country, the one on every commercial and every job site, is also one of the very fastest to lose your money. That is not a fluke. It is the price of being everywhere at once, sold in enormous numbers on long loans, flooding back into the used market faster than buyers can absorb it, all while an engine cloud hangs over the newest ones. Popular and valuable are not the same thing, and this truck is the proof. Number 13, the GMC Sierra 1500. Same GM bones, same engine worries, but wrapped in the pricier Denali and Denali Ultimate trims that push towards 6 figures. And those loaded luxury versions are taking the hardest losses of all, close to half their value in a few years. Cause of death? Luxury truck overreach. All that money for the leather and the badge is the exact money that vanishes fastest, because a truck was never a luxury asset that holds its worth. But that is just the ordinary gas truck glut, the mild end of the crash. The next group is where it gets brutal, because these are the trucks with no future, the discontinued ones and the thirsty halos, the trucks the market has quietly decided are dead ends. And the deeper we go, the harder they fall. Number 12, the Nissan Titan. Nissan killed the Titan off entirely, and a discontinued truck from a company fighting for its own survival gives up nearly half its value in 5 years. Cause of death: orphaned. When there is nobody behind a truck to build the next one, support the parts, or protect a resale, the value just leaks away, and a Nissan dealer in the Denver area blowing out the last ones is really running a clearance sale on a truck with no tomorrow. Number 11, the Ram 1500 TRX. The wild supercharged monster got discontinued, and now the remaining ones are cratering. Cause of death: a novelty that wore off. A thirsty, six-figure halo truck is thrilling for about a year, and then the fuel bills, the insurance, and the fading hype catch up, and the value drops like a stone. A used lot outside of Tampa will take one on trade and price it like a liability, because that is what a discontinued gas-guzzling toy becomes. Number 10, the Ford F-150 Raptor. Same story, higher altitude. The Raptor is a spectacular machine, but it stickers for a fortune, and as the market cools, these high-dollar off-road halos are sitting longer and falling harder. Cause of death: a specialty price with no cushion. A $70,000 plus truck has a very long way to fall, and when a dealer suddenly gets flexible on a Raptor, that flexibility is the first crack in a big drop. Number 9, the Toyota Tundra. The Tundra should hold value like a vault, and yet it is slipping, because the newest twin-turbo V6 got tangled in a huge recall over metal debris left in the engine from the factory. Cause of death: a reliability scare on the one brand that was supposed to be immune to them. When buyers get nervous about the engine in a Toyota, of all things, the resale takes a hit it never used to take. Number 8, the Jeep Gladiator. The Gladiator has been one of the slowest sellers in its class for years, piling up on lots with enormous markdowns. Cause of death: chronic oversupply of a truck that was always too expensive and too thirsty for what it delivered. A Jeep dealer outside of Nashville has a row of them that will not move, and every day they sit, the price falls a little further. A truck this hard to sell brand new was never going to hold its value used, and the market figured that out long before the owners did. But hold on, because the last 7 trucks are not just crashing. These are the deepest, most violent wipeouts in the entire market, the heavy-duty giants and the electric trucks that lost the most money the fastest. And the number 1 crash on this list turned 6 figures into pocket change in barely a year. Number 7, the Ford F-250 Super Duty Diesel. The loaded heavy-duty diesels pushed well past $70,000 and $80,000, and now that the work truck market has cooled, they are sitting and sliding. Cause of death: a 6-figure work truck priced for a boom that ended. For a real contractor, a discounted one is a genuine tool at a discount. For everyone else, it was always more truck than their life required, and the resale is proving it. Number 6, the Ram 2500 Cummins. Same heavy-duty story, same cooling market, same nervous parent company. The legendary diesel has a loyal following, but a loaded one still crossed into luxury car money, and that money is coming back out fast. Cause of death: an expensive heavy-duty truck bought on hope in a market that ran out of it. The engine is beloved. The price tag is not holding. Number 5, the Rivian R1T. Now we reach the electric trucks, where the crash goes from bad to breathtaking. The R1T got glowing reviews and stickered well over $100,000 loaded, and now used ones are showing up starting around $40,000. Cause of death: a startup that is still burning cash to survive, plus a newer, cheaper model coming that instantly makes today's truck worth less. A Rivian owner in the Portland area who paid full price a couple of years ago is watching the value slide every month, and there is nothing he can do to stop it. It is genuinely a good truck, which is what makes it such a painful lesson. Being good was never enough. When the company behind you is still fighting to prove it can survive, and a cheaper replacement is about to make your version yesterday's model, the market prices in all of that fear, and it prices it in fast. Number 4, the Ford F-150 Lightning. The electric version of America's best-selling truck loses roughly half its value in 2 to 3 years, with trucks that sold near $70,000 now trading in the low 40s. Cause of death: a product Ford took billions in losses on and finally pulled back. Hype that never matched real demand. When the maker itself admits the electric truck had no path to profit and cuts production, the resale market hears that loud and clear. Number 3, the Chevrolet Silverado EV and the GMC Sierra EV. These giant electric trucks have shed enormous chunks of their value in just a couple of years, hit with recalls over brakes and wheels, and undercut constantly by GM slashing prices on the new ones. Cause of death, everything at once, fast depreciation, real recalls, and a maker that keeps dropping the price and dragging every used one down with it. A Chevy dealer in rural Ohio prices these like live grenades because he knows exactly how fast they fall. Number 2. The GMC Hummer EV. Here is one of the single biggest dollar losses in the entire market. A Hummer EV that sold new for around $131,000 is now worth something like $71,000. That is $60,000, gone on one truck in barely any time. Cause of death? A hype product nobody needed, monstrously heavy, brutally expensive to insure, wanted by almost no one on the used market. A Hummer owner in the Scottsdale area who wanted to be first on his street lost the price of a whole new car just by owning it. And the used buyer is not rushing in to save him, because everything that made the truck a hard sell new makes it a harder sell used. It is enormous, it drinks power, it costs a fortune to insure, and the battery that runs the whole thing is the single most expensive part to ever replace. So even at $70,000, buyers hesitate, which means the price keeps drifting down, which means the first owner's loss keeps getting bigger in the rearview mirror. That is how $60,000 disappears from a driveway in 2 years, quietly, one nervous shopper walking away at a time. And that brings us to number 1, the Tesla Cybertruck, the most hyped truck of the decade and the fastest, hardest crash of them all. This thing is losing something like 38% of its value in a single year, 1 year, and the early foundation buyers who paid around $100,000 are now getting trade-in offers in the mid-$60,000s. A truck that had a years-long waiting list that people were flipping for profit that was supposed to be impossible to get is now the single biggest money loser on any lot in America. Cause of death, hype that completely outran reality. It got buried under a string of recalls, its resale collapsed as early buyers scrambled to dump them, and unsold ones started piling up. A Cybertruck owner in suburban Austin who waited years for this truck now finds out that the same market that could not get enough of it will barely touch it used. Sit with that speed for a second. Not 5 years, not 3. 1 year to lose nearly 40%, which means the person who bought it new watched tens of thousands of dollars evaporate before he had even finished bragging about it. There has never been a mainstream truck that fell this far this fast, and it happened to the single most hyped vehicle of the decade, which is exactly why it sits at number 1. That is not a discount. That is a bubble deflating in real time, right in front of you, and number 1 is not even close. So here is the real story sitting underneath all 20 of these, the thing the industry is praying you never put together. This market did not crash out of nowhere. It corrected. For years, trucks got more expensive, more hyped, and more heavily financed than anything about them could ever justify, and the whole thing was propped up by cheap long loans, and a story that a truck could be a luxury object, an investment, a status symbol. None of that was true. A truck is a tool. And a tool has a real, honest value, and everything piled on top of that honest value, the badge, the hype, the 6-figure sticker, the electric promise, was air. What you are watching on this list is that air rushing out. The pennies on the dollar prices are not the crash, they are the truth, finally catching up to trucks that were never worth what people paid. And every one of the 20 killers we just went through, oversupply, overpricing, orphaning, bad reputation, and hype is just a different way of saying the same thing. The value was fake, and reality came to collect. And here's who gets buried when that happens, because it is never the executive who set the price or the marketer who sold the dream. It is the buyer who believed them. It is the man who stretched to pay near the top, who financed a truck for 7 or 8 years because he was told it was worth it, and who now owes far more than the truck will ever bring. He did not do anything reckless in his own mind. He trusted that the price on the window meant something, that a truck holds its value, that the newest, most expensive one was the smart buy. And every one of those beliefs is exactly what this crash punished. The people who reached the highest, who wanted the flashiest and borrowed the most to get it, are the ones standing in the deepest hole right now, watching a list like this and recognizing their own truck on it. And it lands hardest, cruelly, on the buyer who thought he was being responsible. He did not blow his money at a casino. He bought a truck, the most all-American, sensible-seeming purchase there is, and he told himself it would hold its value because trucks always did. Nobody warned him that the truck he was buying had quietly become a luxury product with luxury depreciation, or a hype product with a 1-year cliff, or an orphan the market had already written off. He walked into that dealership trusting decades of common sense that no longer applied, and the crash punished him for trusting it. Picture him at a different dealer a couple of years later, hearing the trade-in number for the first time, feeling the floor drop out, realizing he owes $20,000 or $30,000 more than the thing is worth. He is not careless. He is exactly the ordinary, hard-working buyer this whole bubble was built to catch, and the fine print he never read is being read to him now, out loud, with a number attached. So what do you actually do with all of this, whether you own one of these trucks or you are hunting for a deal? A few things, and they are simple. First, learn to read the killer on the windshield, because a truck that is cheap from plain oversupply, like a proven F-150, is a genuine steal, while a truck that is cheap because it is orphaned, recalled, or an electric money pit can still be a trap no matter how low the price goes. Second, let the crash work for you and buy used, after someone else already ate the worst of the drop, because the same truck that destroyed its first owner can be a real value to you. Third, never finance a truck over 7 or 8 years, because that long loan is the exact thing that leaves people underwater and unable to escape. And fourth, remember what every one of these 20 trucks just proved. A truck is a tool, not a trophy, and the moment you buy one to impress people instead of to do a job, you have signed up to be the next name on a list like this. And fifth, if you already own one and you are underwater, do not panic and let a dealer roll your loss into a new loan, because that just moves the hole into your next truck and makes it deeper. The calmer move is usually to hold what you have, keep driving it, and let time close the gap, rather than paying a fresh penalty today to escape it. You are not being cheap by thinking this way. You are refusing to hand your money to a bubble on its way down, and refusing to do it twice. This crash is not finished. It is still rolling downhill, and more of these trucks are going to keep falling as the last of the hype burns off. And do not assume the crash is finished just because a truck already looks cheap. Several of the ones on this list, especially the electric ones, are still falling, which means the bargain that looks incredible today can look overpriced 6 months from now. Patience is a weapon in a falling market, and right now the market is still falling. Subscribe, and I will keep showing you exactly which trucks are crashing the hardest and which cheap ones are actually worth buying, before you end up on the wrong side of the next one.